Hey everyone, it's the Depressed Eeyore, and this is Labyrinth of Touhou. I showed like a brief introduction video. I wasn't really too glad. I don't think it really went that well, but hopefully you guys at least learned a little bit about the game. Since there hasn't, I'm still waiting on suggestions and stuff to go on my to be offered by all you guys. I'm gonna go ahead and just show off this game a bit more. And we're just going to do a new game. Also, I kind of just want to see how this goes as a possible Let's Play. So, yeah, let's go ahead and start a new game. Just some dialogue. This is Rinozuki. He's practically one of the only named male characters in the game, or in the Touhou series. He apparently has noticed something that's wrong, but he's rather vague on it. Something to do with about the barrier that covers all of Gensokyo. Also, if I'm going a little too fast, just pause the video if you want to read the text. I'll kind of explain a little bit more once the intro is done with. He mentions Raimu, Raimu is the main character of Touhou, and her job is supposed to be like to maintain the border and, you know, deal with any problems that happen in Gensokyo. Essentially the all-around good guy, good girl, I guess, not good guy. And apparently Rinozuki found something. And now we're at the Scarlet Devil Mansion. You can actually see it. Let me move my mouse on the screen. You'll see the name right there, Scarlet Devil Mansion. Yeah, I can't really see it because I have my FPS in the top left corner. But there's Raimu. This version of Labyrinth of Touhou, I can change the icons for any of or pictures of any of the characters. So this is the picture I have for Raimu. I generally prefer them over the default. Alright, so she's in this is Raimu in the Scarlet Devil Mansion. She's right now calling for Sakia. And as always, I have custom pics for all the characters. Sakia is the maid of the Scarlet Devil Mansion. That was also the character I played on my Touhou 7 playthrough that I did real quickly. Apparently, Raimu is right now freeloading in the Scarlet Devil Mansion for some reason. Obviously, she's not very happy that Raimu's here. Yeah, her occupation, Raimu's occupation is a shrine maiden. This is Ramilia, who's the mistress of the mansion. She's a vampire. Hence why you see probably this bat wings and stuff. She's also carrying, this picture shows her carrying a lance, I believe. Apparently, Ramilia does not know that Raimu's been staying here for a while back. Raimu helped out, and she said, "Oh, you can stay for a little while." Apparently, a little while has been going on for a while. Apparently, a month ago. Yeah, Raimu is rather lazy. Of course, a lot of the characters in Touhou are rather lazy. Raimu noticed something, and now the place is shaking. So like a vortex, like a tear in the dimensions kind of opened up above the mansion. And there's going to be some fourth wall breaking with their dialogue. It's part of the humor of this game. As Sakia just mentioned, the change of the background music. Whatever it is, it's getting bigger in the sky. And now pulling everything in. Don't worry, once the intro's done, there's not as much like constant dialogue. More just like small events. There's not really very many, like, there's obviously no cinematics in this game, but telling you guys been watching Conquest of Elysium 3, I think graphics are kind of the last thing on you guys' minds. Right now the vortex is kind of pulling a lot of stuff in. It's not pulling the entire mansion, it's just kind of ripping things up, kind of like how a tornado in a hurricane works. Just ripping off doors and from their hinges and windows and all that. And here's Rinazuki. Oh yeah, Rinazuki is a shopkeeper. Though it's not a very successful shopkeeper as far as the lore is concerned. Sorry, my MSN just turned off. And again. So right now their best option is to leave the mansion. Since the mansion will hold up, they don't want to risk their own lives. And there we go. Alright, and let's go ahead and continue. Alright, this is Marissa, the second kind, I guess you could say the other main character of the Touhou series. She generally steals a lot of things. She's also a magician. A human magician. This is Patchouli. She's an actual magician, as in like as a race, not a human. So she can live forever and things like that. Magicians kind of have their own little lore in this in the Touhou series. They believe. Since it's involving gaps in dimensions, that it could possibly be a Yukari who is specialized in those types of things. But let me cut off for just a second so I can deal with this MSN issue. Sorry about that. Alright. You didn't miss anything. We'll just continue off the dialogue in the intro. Right now the Scarlet Devil Mansion's all a mess because of the whole, vortex thing. So the vortex is actually still up there, it's just not sucking anyone in anymore. apparently everyone else that they could possibly ask for help is already wandered in there. Or, you know, has gone missing. And he starts explaining it. Like a tear in space. Whatever. Though I'd never heard of the term space interval before. And Marissa is obviously referring to Final Fantasy less dungeons, which usually are tend to be rather otherworldly in nature. Like, you know, Final Fantasy IV is on the moon, I believe. And he's mentioning that the Hakurei border, the thing that Raimu is supposed to keep maintain, is kind of falling apart. Which Patchy is kindly enough explaining that it's just the border to the outside world. That's why the outside world doesn't know about the Gensokyo setting. Wow, Patchy kind of just said what I just mentioned. I couldn't remember how well they explained things in this game. He's just explaining how he's able to find out this information. He tends to wander around for stuff to sell. And apparently he's been finding a lot of stuff from the outside world, inside of Gensokyo. He mentions that Yukari's been acting strange. She should be hibernating at this time, which I didn't know Yukari actually hibernates. I know she sleeps a lot, but because she's pretty lazy as well. But she should be hibernating at this time, and she isn't. Taking so long that the music restarted. They're talking about just going inside. Marissa says it's reckless. Remilia wants to find out who just messed up her mansion. And Raimu finally mentions that she probably should go check on her shrine that has been maintaining for a month. Of course, they're not going to have any part of that since she's been freeloading for a month. Raimu's been caught. "40 seconds for prayer." I think Marissa is about to bark, but Saki stopped her. Well, finally Raimu's going to do something. Alright, this part here, and sorry for my mouse on the screen, this part here is only appears if you have a save that's already defeated the plus disc boss, which is like level 30 on the floors in this game. It's all in Japanese, unfortunately, so I don't know what it exactly says, but it's practically just the offer to do New Game Plus. Sorry, my throat's bothering me. So right now it's asking me, I believe it's, the first question is, do you want to transfer all characters you have? Which means you start out with about 5 characters normally, but if I chose OK in this, I would get all the characters I've unlocked. Which means, and if you've gotten far enough to beat the final guy on floor 30, you have everyone unlocked. So that'll be all 40 characters. Yes, there's 40 characters in this game. So I'm gonna choose no. Thankfully, it's X for choosing no and Z for yes. So no, because I'm not gonna do New Game Plus. I don't remember the exact order, but the other questions are: do you want to keep your? I believe it's. Do you want to keep all your levels, like experience levels? And then there's let's find out. Okay, there's 3 questions. So the first one is, do you want to keep do you want to keep all your characters? Second is, do you want to keep all your items? I believe, and these are only items that are in your inventory. So if you want to take advantage of that, you have to go to your old save and unequip all your characters if you want to use their items. And then the third one is, do you want to carry over your skill points or skill levels, which are practically as good as your levels. If you carry over like your skill levels and you use those characters, you're going to be rather ahead of the game for several levels. Actually, you'll probably be, if you use anyone that you use to beat the level 30 boss, you shouldn't have any trouble beating a lot of the bosses until. I mean, it doesn't make you completely unstoppable, because I mean, you still need some levels to fight some of the optional bosses in the first that you can find on the first level. But as far as like following the storyline, it'll be a breeze. You have no trouble at all killing everything. So I just kind of wanted to show off the actual game without New Game Plus, so I'm gonna do that. Also, my New Game Plus is a little buggy. It does some weird things, like I've seen it alter stats that shouldn't be, like giving certain stats to certain players that they shouldn't have, and also giving random starting XP, which is kind of weird. I think it only happens if I use this version of Touhou, which is version 3.01. If I use like my other version, which I have to use anyway to get past a certain bug, I don't have that problem. So enough about that. As you can see, we're in they call it Phantasmagoria, which I guess you can just say is just the main hub. Even though these options are in Japanese, I know what they are. The first one is the Hakure Shrine, Raimu's place. The second is the library, which is in the Scarlet Devil Mansion, which is Patchy's kind of abode. This one is the actual Scarlet Devil Mansion, and this one is the Vortex. And this is Akio's house, which is what you do for like options and stuff like that. So let's go ahead and pull up the options. All these places have a little interesting. All it's going to be is that's Akio. I believe I don't think I'm pronouncing that correctly, so I apologize. But that's Akio. She's like she keeps track of her family keeps track of the history of Gensokyo. Like, well, not just the history, but everything about Gensokyo. She's practically like the I guess you could say she's like writing the wiki for the Touhou setting. So there you go. Yeah, Raimu's gonna ask for help. Akio's gonna ask. It's just mentioning about the space-time thingamajiggy. She's not surprised because Raimu and Marissa always poke their noses in all problems. Akio mentions the Imperishable Knights incident, which I believe was Touhou 8 or 9. It's definitely one of the ones I haven't beaten. Anyway, Aki was just explaining that she can save the game and all that fun stuff. In this game, if you die, you load your game, so it's a good idea to save often. Or at least, you know, constantly go back to the village to restore your health and all that. Oh, this intro actually does talk a lot. I apologize, everyone. This will obviously be on its own video. There you go. So you can record your journey, save, read your records, which is load. This option is just changing your. You can either use the special disc musics or version 1 and 2. I usually do version 1 and 2. Sell equipment, which we don't have any. This is actually a neat feature they added, which was because you get a lot of items in this game, but originally all your old items just sit there and not do anything. Now you can sell all items. The only thing you can't sell is the original item, which means if you have one of an item, you can't sell it, but if you have two, you can sell one of them, for example. And the more you sell certain items, the selling multiplier increases. So actually, as you sell things, it's worth more. Of course, you never really farm for items for selling purposes, usually. And that's about it. What are my saves right now? 26, 27. I don't know which of these I'm using. I'm gonna go ahead and just pick this one for now. As you can see, the pictures are different. There's actually a hidden value called battle points, which represents how many battles your characters have participated in. Like actual front row in the battles. It doesn't count if you're in the back rows or not in the party. Whoever has the most is the portrait that appears. So like my main save, which as you can see I'm like over level 600 and blah blah blah. Mei Ling is my main person because she's my main tank, so she's always she's always front row, always fighting in almost all the battles. And these other two characters, it's whoever I use most. I don't remember the specifics of each of these, but I'm gonna go ahead and save over this one. There we go, save complete. As you can see, it's now Raimu, even though I don't know how they pick it if it's tied, but right now all of my characters have 0 battle points, so it's just Raimu. Alright, that's all from there. Back to Kensokyo. Okay, this is just the another space. This is where I would go to start the game. As you progress, there'll be more options, like you can start on certain floors as you hit checkpoints and stuff like that, but for right now it's just enter dungeon or just go back home. So, if you actually did watch my other video explaining this game, I apologize. I'm just going to go ahead and do a quick review for this intro, and then probably call it quits for now. And then I'll see about showing some gameplay in the next video. Let's go to the Scarlet Devil Mansion. Yeah, the place is still a mess. And Raimu mentions that it's bigger than her place. and Mercer mentions that it's clean, despite the mess, it's cleaner than her place. Of course, Vermilion is very annoyed that they're talking about living here again. Of course, Raimu just claims she does live here. And Marissa too. But Raimu does have a point. This is the biggest place, so they're gonna have everyone gather here instead of, you know, random places. And she mentions that we'll be gathering a lot more people for help and all that stuff. Also, this place is closest to the rift, so even better. It's like, you know, having a dungeon right outside your house, which is how most games are like anyway. course, their ideas are more selfish than that. But here we go. So as you can see, right now we only have Raimu and Marissa. But we also have access to Remilia, Sakia, and Patchouli. So, just for the sake of getting this started, let's go ahead and swap you in. Swap you in. I'm trying to think who it's not really too big of a deal. And we can always swap it out. But that's our party so far. As you notice, we have 7 more slots. But these 8 here are not part of the combat, but they can be called in. And these 4 are the ones that take the brunt and have to take actions and all that stuff. Okay, let's go visit this real quick just to get the dialogue out of the way. This is the Volel Magic Library, which is the library in, I believe it's under Scarlet Devil Mansion. Of course, Marissa says the place is depressing, and Patchouli says, well, probably if you don't like it, then stop showing up here to take books, because that's the kind of the thing that Marissa does. She goes to this library and steals Patchy's books. I believe I mentioned that if you've seen my PatchCon playthrough, that's kind of the gist of it. Raimu was asking about this place, and Marissa was like, well, you didn't read the little note that was on the Gensokyo screen. So there's some fourth wall breaking again. And now she explains how this works, you know, asking the most obvious things, so the game better, so you know the game better is the main character's duty. But this is the library. This is where you do you level up skills. Marissa mentions that we already level up in the Hakurei Shrine, which we haven't visited yet. I'm kind of doing this backwards. So there we go. Marissa's doing the main character thing as well. And Patchy was just like, if you want to know more, read the manual. I'm going to bed. Fortunately, there was no manual with this, at least not where I got it. But she's going to explain it. You gain 2 things in battle. You gain, well, 3 things if you get a drop. But you can either get items, well, you can always get experience, and you always get skill points. And sometimes you'll get items. And skill points are what you use to increase certain stats. You also can get them from chest. And she mentions that certain characters can level up better. It's cheaper to increase certain stats that they're good in, and, you know, more expensive and things are bad in. For example, Patchy's very good as a caster and as a mage, and very resistant to magic, but increasing things like physical attack and defense is a lot more expensive on her, while increasing her like magic attack and defense is cheaper. And she gives you 100 skill points to start things off. She's like, oh, you can try it out. And she explains that it's maybe not very useful right now, but as you level up and stuff, it becomes a lot more important. It's like a percentage increase. So as you level up, the importance of skill levels become more and more important. With the exception of a few things, I believe magic, the elemental resist are their own thing. Also, if you and whatever points you spend, they're gone. You just have to go and farm more points if you want to increase other things. You can't just delete the points. So there you go. We have 100 skill points, and you can go through all your characters and spend skill points. It's generally advised to use them on characters you intend on using. As you can see, there you go. Everyone starts out at level 1s and all their stats and resistances, and then their actual stats are over to the right here. I'll show it with my mouse here. There it is. This is her status resistances: poison, paralysis, silence, instant death, status debuffs. This is fire, fire resist, water resist, air resist, earth resist, or nature resist. One of these is spirits resist, and the other I believe is mystic resist. And this is just the rate you regain SP points, which is practically magic points. But if you also look over here on the top, where I have skill points and the required points to increase things, you can notice that certain things cost more than others. See, like hit points and SP doesn't cost the same, but TP costs a lot more, and TP is usually something you don't increase too often. But for like Raimu, she generally has, it's very easy to increase her mind in magic, and even her attack, at least for now. But her defense is a lot more expensive. And it's kind of the same thing for these other characters. I think Patchy is the easiest to show off. As you can see, it's one point to get to the next level of magic and mind, but 6 and 7 to get to the next level of attack and defense. And I mean, even hit points cost more for her, but SP only costs more. So it's possible to build a character any way you want, even though the only thing that will kind of hinder you is their actual spells, because their spells could purely run off of magic, or just attack, or both, and that will kind of hinder that idea of just building something as whoever you want, like building Patchy as like a melee attacker or something. But other than that, you can if you have the patience, you can level up these characters in any way you want. Like I can make Patchy a tank if I really had a lot of time on my hands. But it's usually better to stick with your specializations. Some of the characters can kind of be a little of both A and B, or you can choose to make them go a little alternate path that might help you out. Like, you can have Vermilia be nothing but go focused on attack, and she'll still be an okay tank, but she'll be a lot better at doing damage. Or you can have her just pure defense, and her attack will suffer, but she'll become a very durable tank. Now let's go to this last place. I think I've wasted enough of you guys' time. Alright, here's the Hakurai Shrine. This is where Raimu's usually staying. It's intact, apparently. And falling apart. And she liked the Scarlet Devil Mansion because there were no chores. And Raimu noticed something, and so she revealed it. This character, I don't remember who this was, but she's like the goddess of level ups, as funny as that sounds. How Shoken? I think that's a reference, but I don't know what it is. The famous level goddess, Agasa Kaguya. But, doesn't ring any bells. I think there's already a Kaguya in the series, but it's not her. Obviously they're doing a lot of references. Unfortunately they're going over my head at the moment. And now she introduces herself, which is Agasa Kaguya, the level goddess. And what she does is she takes the experience that all your characters gain, and performs level up ceremonies. Every character in the game has their own level up rate. It kind of varies. Some of the weaker some characters might have really good starting stats and growth rates, but it's balanced out by slower level gain, and vice versa. Apparently she's doing the ritual already. Of course, she didn't level up because we right now have no experience. Of course, now she questions why a goddess even needs experience. It just doesn't level them up automatically. but those are the rules. So there you go. As you can see, I'll move the mouse on the screen again. Sorry, guys. Alright, you can see there's current XP. It's kind of hard to see, and then experience required. If you have enough experience, it'll actually be a different color, and it'll actually be more visible. But as you can see, if you can, squint your eyes, I guess, you'll notice that the experience required is different for each of the characters. Like 92 for Patchouli, 95 for Raimu. So Raimu has great stats, but she's levels slower than everyone else. Sakia needs 74, Marissa needs 79, and Raimu needs 64. She levels the fastest out of the group, at least for now. So that's just kind of the gist of it. Like, if I go ahead and click here, if I had enough experience or have a lot of experience saved up, I can use this opportunity to level up multiple times. Excuse me. When you level up, you get to spend a, I guess you can call it a stat point on any of your stats. And what that does is, it's kind of like a level up it's kind of like the equivalent of doing a level up with skill points, but it's a little weaker. Like, it's a smaller percentage. But they do kind of add up over time, so it's usually best to just focus on a particular stat, or maybe two stats, depending on your the character type. So, like for Raimu, for example, I might want to focus more on defensive stats and just focus on that, since she's more of a healer type. Or for the Patchouli, for example, since I usually use her for nuking, I would probably focus all my levels into magic and just buff her magic as high as possible. So, and same thing for Marissa. Marissa, I would probably just focus in magic. So there you go. So that's the intro. I'm the Depressed Eeyore, and this was not Conquest of Elysium, but Labyrinth of Touhou. This was just the intro. I just wanted to show this off. I'll probably do a little bit more of the actual gameplay of exploring the dungeons and stuff, and see how that plays out. If I do a playthrough of this, if I have to hit a point where I have to grind, I will do that off screen. But most of the time, you don't really need to grind in this game. You just kind of just explore everything. If you explore every nook and cranny on the map, you'll be pretty much good to go. Until like maybe 3-4 places in the game, and that's including the plus disc content. The actual story is about only 20 levels long, and then the 20 floors long, and then the bonus stuff is all like 10 floors. And it's not really there's not very much plot in that. So anyway, let's go ahead and save, just so I don't have to repeat that all again. And I'm the Depressed Eeyore, and this was Labyrinth of Touhou. Hope you guys enjoyed it. I did kind of mention that it's like bad RPGs, like the Mass Effect series, and I didn't want people to think I didn't play RPGs, but I don't think anyone thought that. So I just kind of wanted to show this off again, and I might do a little bit of footage off and on and see how that goes. Alright, see you guys later.